Okay, good. So let's go to the PowerPoint. The endocrine system. These are ductless glands. They don't have special tubes to deliver the hormones. They release their hormones directly into the blood. So there's a whole collection of these hormones. And from the hypothalamus, production of antidiuretic hormone, and hold on, I got to get my glasses right here. Okay, so in the hypothalamus, ADH and oxytocin and regulatory hormones are produced. Antidiuretic hormone is involved in regulation of urine output. Oxytocin stimulates smooth muscle contraction to lead to the delivery of a fetus. There are other regulatory hormones we'll talk about momentarily. The pituitary gland, the anterior pituitary, produces a long list of hormones: adrenocorticotropic hormone, thyroid stimulating hormone, growth hormone, prolactin, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, melanocyte stimulating hormone. The posterior pituitary, that's where release of oxytocin and ADH. So it used to be thought that the anterior pituitary was the basic control mechanism for the release of all these hormones, but it's the hypothalamus with these regulatory factors. And we have the thyroid gland, which produces T3 and T4 and calcitonin. The thymus, which is, as you get to adult, loses its function. Adrenal glands in the adrenal medulla produces epinephrine and norepinephrine. In the adrenal cortex, the corticosteroids, aldosterone, which is another hormone involved in kidney regulation. Then we have the pineal gland with melatonin, which melatonin is involved in regulation of the circadian rhythm, the 24-hour cycle. That is messed up by excessive lighting in the world, and is involved in regulating that 24-hour cycle. Parathyroid gland, which produces parathyroid hormone. The heart produces atrial natriuretic peptide. The kidney produces renin, erythropoietin, and calcium. We'll skip that one for now. Then we have the adipose tissue, produces leptin and resistin. Digestive tract produces numerous hormones. Insulin is produced in the pancreatic islets, and gonads produce androgens, especially testosterone in the male. In the female, produce estrogen, progestins, and inhibin. So hormones are very varied in their source, as well as their wide function. Some are very specific, others like growth hormone and thyroid hormones greatly influence growth. Follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone are directly involved in testes function and ovarian function. So the endocrine cells release hormone directly into the blood. The hormone goes through the bloodstream, distributed throughout the body. Skeletal muscle tissue hormones such as growth hormone and thyroid hormones can be influenced by hormones. Muscle, for instance, will have a receptor and the hormone binds together, and we'll find that some hormones have their effect outside the cell. Others have their effect inside the cell. Okay, so here we have a hormone that binds to a receptor. That complex activates G protein, which causes cyclic AMP to be formed. The second messenger activates kinase, and that kinase is involved usually in energizing compounds by adding phosphorus. Okay, then we have steroid hormones such as testosterone and aldosterone, which, because of its lipid solubility, goes into the cell, is received by a cellular receptor, and it's going to cause the production of proteins from activation of DNA. Thyroid hormones, again, also can increase ATP production in the mitochondria, also increase proteins. So hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism are very common events. My brother has hypothyroidism. Many people have it. They take extra thyroid hormones, and people who have hypothyroidism have a deficit in energy production, and usually they're cold and sluggish. So what does the hypothalamus do? So in the hypothalamus, the production of releasing factors. The hypothalamus for the posterior pituitary releases antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. So hormones secreted by the anterior pituitary are controlled by regulatory hormones produced in the hypothalamus, which gets into the blood supply and controls the release of hormones from the anterior pituitary, such as growth hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, prolactin, which is involved in milk production in the mammary glands of the breast. Also, in the adrenal medulla, you have sympathetic control. So your sympathetic fight or flight is going to release epinephrine, which can lead to increased heart rate, increased breathing, and so on. Okay, so the hypothalamus is very, very important for the production of antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin, and then for the control of release of hormones from the anterior pituitary. I'm 74 years old. When I first studied biology, there was no discussion of the role of the hypothalamus. So let's go back and stop recording for a minute, and then we'll keep going.